The 7th of May, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay. Let's see. Where are we holding Miss Gemora? Oh, yeah. We were discussing about Kfar Nimchol Shibudoi. Okay. Okay. Okay, so what are we going to do over here? Can we read all the Rashis? I don't know. Alma Periye Inche Biyome. That was the Gemora's point. Right? Rav Asi said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, this is on Yod Zayin Amid Aleph. Starts from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, wide lines down from where the wide lines begin. And he said a din that was based upon the fact that it was assuming that the Priya Bas Yoma Lo Chashinen. We are not choshesh that a person who borrowed money will pay the loan back on the very same day that he borrowed the money. And so therefore, when that shtar chov was found in the shuk, and it was dated on Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and we found it on Rosh Chodesh Iyar, we give it back to the Malva because we assume that the loiva did not pay on the very same day that he borrowed the money. And Reb Zera, he brought a different statement that Rabbi Yochanan also said about going and getting a second loan and using Eno Chosev Loiva Bo. He can't, after having shtar shaloiva bo, a shtar that he used to borrow with, upar oro, and he paid it off. And now he wants to do the same exact transaction with the same person with the same amount. And he wants to use the same document. Eino choser v'loiva bo. He cannot do that. Kfar nimchol shibudo. Since he already paid off the first loan, so now the document doesn't have any power to be mishabed the property of the loiva in a different loan. That document was made for the first loan, and once the loan was paid off, the shibud that was created by that shtar has been excused. So even though the piece of paper wasn't torn up, but the document can't be it doesn't have the legal ability, halakhic ability to create a shibud for a second loan, even if that loan is from the same person for the same amount. Even though all the words on the document are the same, they're all accurate, but it doesn't work. And so he said that when was this second loan? When did the lover want to do it? If he wanted to do it on the second day of the month or the third day of the month, so why does Rabbi Yochanan say that the reason why he can't do it is because the shibud has been excused? He should say because the document is a predated document. The predated document doesn't have any ability to to create a shibud. The document itself is puzzle. So therefore, we concluded that as a result of that, the fact that Rabbi Yochanan did not say that the reason is because we have a predated document, we can conclude that we were talking about a document. The second loan was not going to be made on the second or the third of the month. Rather, it was going to be made on the same day that it says in the document. And if so then we were talking about a case. Rabbi Yochanan was talking about a case when he talked about that document that can't be used a second time because the shibud was already nimchal, it was already absolved and excused. He was talking about a case where the second loan would be taking place on the same day. Oh, here comes Phil. The same day that the first loan took place. And so therefore that was his proof, Reb Zera, that was Reb Zera's proof that pare inshe biyome, that it is possible that sometimes people pay on the same day. Because that's exactly the case that Reb Yochanan was talking about. So claims Reb Zera. Okay, so that's where we're up to. And now we're ready for the response of Rav Asi to this challenge of Reb Zera. Amar Le.
Amar Le.
It's about it's about 12 lines from the bottom.
Amar Le Reb Asi the Reb I'm sorry, Reb Zera the Reb Asi. Reb Zera told Reb Asi, Mi Amar Rebbe Yochanan Hachi.
No, that's what we just got to talking about. We already did that.
Next page, okay.
Just says Amar Le.
Amar Le. Reb Asi told Reb Zera.
Yeah.
Mi ka amina delo par'e balel. Did I say that Reb Yochanan holds people never repay a loan on the same day that it was contracted? Delo shivicha in she de far'e biyome ka amina. I said merely that he holds it is uncommon for people to repay a loan on the same day that it was contracted.
Right. And therefore, accordingly, we don't have to take it into account in terms of giving the lost shtar that we found in the shuk that was dated Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and we found it on Rosh Chodesh Iyar. We don't have to take into account that remote possibility that perhaps the lova has already paid it. And so therefore, we give it back to the malva. That's the first din that Rav Asi told us in the name of Rabbi Yochanan.
But since it's possible that it was paid in the same day, it should be invalidated.
Why? Well, okay, I'll tell you another thing. First of all, it's a remote possibility that he paid it off. Number one, on the same day. And number two, there's also something else that happened over here, which is very, very unusual. How likely is it that after a lova would pay a loan that he wouldn't tear it up immediately? That's also something which is very unlikely.
Right.
And we have to say that both of those two very unlikely things happened in this case to say that really we should give it back to the loiva.
Right.
Isn't that what Ravasi himself said? No, actually, Ravasi didn't say that. I'm saying that. That's interesting. Interesting. He didn't mention that. Okay.
I don't know where my English got it from, but my English says, however, it was necessary for Reb Yochanan to invalidate a paid note in the rare case it was paid on the same day it was written. Maybe it's in the Rashi. It doesn't quote Rashi, it just says that.
That's referring to the second statement of Rabbi Yochanan. Shtar shalovabo uparoi eno chose v'loivabo shekvar nimchol shibudai. That's the second statement of Rabbi Yochanan that we've been talking about over here.
Uh-huh. Well, the comment is associated with the statement I just read, that it's uncommon.
It's uncommon. Yeah.
It says it's uncommon, and the English says, however, it was necessary because it might be a rare case.
I mean, practically, again, what did it say exactly?
Okay, let me read you the whole thing. Did I say that Reb Yochanan holds people never repay a loan on the same day it was contracted?
Yeah.
I said merely that he holds it is uncommon for people to repay a loan on the same day it was contracted. Therefore, a note dated the day of its discovery should be returned to the creditor.
Right.
Because we need not be concerned about the remote possibility of repayment. However, it was necessary for Rev Yochanan to invalidate a paid note in the rare case it was paid on the same day it was written.
Oh, so that, however, is what you're pointing out over here.
Right, exactly. That's what's bothering me.
So even though when it comes to what should we do with this star, we're going to say we're not going to entertain the possibility that in this case the loiva already paid it, because it's a remote possibility that the loiva is going to pay off a loan on the same day that he took the loan. That's the first din of Rabbi Yochanan that we're saying.
Right.
And at the same time, we're saying, Reb Zera brought to our attention that Rabbi Yochanan, in a different memra, he really is talking about a case where we have to say that that he's talking about a case where that's exactly what happened. That the loiva paid off the first loan, and now he wants to use that same star to on the same day, and now he wants to do a second loan on that very same day with the same star. And on that, Rabbi Yochanan says he can't do it.
Right.
Because the shibud has already been excused. So Rabbi Yochanan himself is saying a din about a case which is a very remote possibility.
Right.
So what I'm answering is I'm saying that is that's because in that case he didn't want to tear it up. He didn't. I mean, I guess he didn't tear it up yet. And then he, like you said, with the whatever, the used car or something like that, that he wanted to. He just at the time that he made the first payment, he paid it on that day, and then sometime later in that same day, he had a need to also borrow the same amount of money. So he figured he would use the same star. But he can't do that, says Rabbi Yochanan.
Right.
So I'm saying that it's true, it's a remote possibility. But in the first case, it's an even more remote possibility because of the factor of, generally speaking, the guy's going to tear it up once he pays it. But I guess you're saying that that's also included in the second case. When he paid it up, he didn't tear it up.
Right. Because even though he can't reuse it, he's ignorant, and he thought maybe he could reuse it. So
Yeah.
it's even more rare.
Well, I mean, it's not unheard of that people don't know the halacha.
Right.
But okay, but that's exactly your comment. That's exactly what the Art Scroll is pointing out. It's a bit of a question.
Right.
A bit of a question. Because generally we say that we don't say halachas about things that are very, very remote possibilities. If it's a very remote possibility, then why did even Rabbi Yochanan, why did he even have to say this din that he can't use it because kvar nimchal shibudai? But okay, that's the comment of the Art Scroll. Let's see if we have any Rashis to do over here. Do we have any Rashis? Yeah, this Rashi, the lo shkiche inche the pare biyome kamina.
Well, let me see. I'm trying to see where it is. They're all look. The lo shkiche inche the pare miyoma, and it's not common for people to pay on that same day. Kamina we're dealing with. Therefore, lo chayishon, we're not concerned, limidi, for the one, the lo of that one, the lo shchiach, because it's not common. V'i mamarti, and if I say who's rechu, loma, that he needs to say, the ein choser, that he would not go back the Lovaboat and lend it to him.
Is Rami. That's a tough.
Where?
The word the is Rami.
Rami being a deceiver.
No, if it happens.
If it happens, then he needs to say that he won't go back and lend it to him.
You see, in other words, Rashi is also bothered by this question that the Art Scroll raised over here. Rashi's saying in the first statement, Rabbi Yochanan is saying that that it's not shkichi, it's not common, it's a remote possibility that the guy's going to pay off the loan the same day that he borrowed it, and therefore Hilkach, says Rashi, lo chashinen lamidi de lo shkiach. The rule in halacha is that something that is not shkiach, something that is a remote possibility, in halacha we often say that we don't have to take it into account, And that's what we're doing over here. We're not taking into account, well, maybe he did pay it off on the same day, even though it's the same day that he took out the loan. Maybe we do have to give it to the lova. No, says Rabbi Yochanan, we don't entertain that possibility. Accordingly, we'll give it back. If we find it in the shuk, we'll give it back to the malva, give it back to the lender. We're gonna take on that the lova did not pay it back yet, because it's a remote possibility to assume that he paid it back on the same day. And then Rashi says, "V'isrami," but right, if it happens that he did pay it back on that same day, and now furthermore he wants to take a second loan from the person at the same amount. So all the words in the document are accurate. Says Rashi, then Rabbi Yochanan felt it necessary to tell us that he's not able to subsequently use that same document and take out a loan with it, with that document that he used for the first loan. He cannot take that document and use it to get a loan for the second loan. So you see, Rashi's a little bit. That's what Rabbi Yochanan is saying. That's what we have to say that he said, right? Okay. So that's how Rav Asi answered Rav Zera's challenge. That true. It's not impossible that he could pay it back on the same day. You've proven that Rabbi Yochanan even talked about a case like that. But nevertheless, the first case, it doesn't mean that he didn't say the first din about being able to give it back to the malva, because he says it's a remote possibility. Okay, so Rabbi Yochanan has been defended. Now we go to the next statement, Rav Kahana Omar. Roy, would you like to read Rav Kahana Omar?
Rav Kahana Omar. Rav Kahana said, the note may be returned to the creditor where the debtor acknowledges that the debt has not been paid.
Oh boy.
The questions the novelty of Rabbi Yochanan's ruling according to this explanation. If so, why was it necessary to teach this ruling? If the debtor acknowledges his liability, how might I reason that the note should not be returned to the creditor? And the Gemora gives an answer.
Okay, so do we have any Rashi on that statement of Rav Kahana? Rav Kahana Amar, yes. We've got two little Rashis.
Rav Kahana says, that the Omer Rabbi Yochanan, that Rabbi Yochanan says, Yachzir Lebalim, that he has to return it to the owners.
Meaning to the Loiva. No. Meaning to the Malva, the lender.
Yeah. And Shechayev, but if he admits that he owes the money, Shelo Para, that it wasn't paid.
Right. So what's Reb Kahana saying that the Rabbi Yochanan's talking about? We give it back to the Bailim. We find it in the Shuk. We give it back to the Bailim. Give it back to the Malva. Says Reb Kahana, there's some unwritten words in that statement. What Rabbi Yochanan means is we give it back to the Malva in the case where the loiva, that's the one who's chayav over here. That's referring to the loiva, the borrower, where he was consulted, and he told us that he has not yet paid it back. That's what Reb Kahan is saying. That's the only way he can understand the statement of Reb Yochanan. Kishachayev modeh. It must be that we give it back to the Malva because we heard from the Leva that he admits that he has not yet paid it back on the first day. On that, the Gemora asks, Ihachi Maila Memra. Shkoyach Reb Kahana. According to you, what in the world is Reb Yochanan telling us that we wouldn't already have known? Obviously, if he admits that he didn't give it, that he didn't pay it, we'll give it back to the Malva, of course. So now we need to understand what's the Hiddish in what Reb Yochanan is saying, according to the way Reb Kahana interprets what he was saying. So now the Gemara is going to tell us what we would have thought otherwise if we hadn't heard what Reb Kahana is telling us. Ma'udatema. Ma'udatema.
Without this ruling, you might have said, Hi Mifra Par A. Perhaps this debtor paid the note. V'hai Tika Amar Lo Paratiha. And the reason that he said, I did not pay it is Mishum de Kavae Mehedar Lemiz Fa Be Zimna Acharisi, because he desires to do it again at another time. V'lif shite desafra chaish, and he is concerned about the additional expenditure of coins charged by the scribe to write a new note. So he wants to hold on to it because he wants to use it because he wants to save money.
Okay.
Mashma lan. Therefore, Rav Yochanan teaches us that we are not concerned about this possibility. The E came for if so, Malva Gufe Lo Shavak. The lender himself would not permit the debtor to reuse the note for the second loan.
Yeah.
Savar, because he thinks, the lender thinks, Sham'ei Rabbanan, the rabbis will hear about me that I have reused a note whose lien has lapsed. U mafsadei li, and they will cause me a loss.
Right. Let's see Rashi. Rashi will explain us what's going on over here.
Yes. Shemaki Rabbanan, the rabbis will hear Shenimchal Shibudo, that they will forgive the loan there. They'll forgo to give his obligation. The maspedili, and they're going to cause me a loss. Limit taref, lekochot, it'll be a bother to the purchasers, mishum, because the shtari cho mukdim, because this would be a star of debt that's predated. Are pasulim, they're puzzle. The kavan, since the ukma, that it should be established hakigas, lace lay, there will not be aid of the chotmo. There won't be witnesses on a signature. Zachin lo, to merit him. Avzed is mean ha mukdamim, is also considered predated.
The question, let's just go through the main points over here. So Rav Kahana said, we give it back to the Malva only in the event that we know that the chayav has been moda, the loiva has been moda, that he has not yet paid, and therefore we give it back to the bailim. The Gemora asked, "What's the chiddush, if so, of Rabbi Yochanan's statement?" Obviously, in that case, we would give it back to the bailim. We wouldn't give it back to the loiva. He himself admitted that he hasn't yet paid. So we said we would have thought to say that we would have thought to say, the Gemara has a whole scenario over here. We would have thought to say that maybe the following thing happened, that he really, even though he said that he didn't pay it, he really did pay it already. He really did pay it already, the loiva. And so why would he say that he didn't pay it if he did? Haidakov Amar lo paraiti. This that he said that he didn't pay. Why would he have said that? Because he wants to take a second loan from the same malva. That's why he said that. He's planning on taking another loan from the malva. He would like to take a second loan, and like that, he'll be able to use this same document and save the price that it would cost him to pay a scribe to write a second document. And so what is so therefore what? So therefore what? So therefore we might have thought to say, on account of this chashash that we have, that maybe that's the reason why he's saying that he didn't yet pay it, we should not give it back to the malva. Because really, maybe it already has been paid, and he's just saying that he hasn't paid it because of this reason that he's got. On that, we answered no. Kamash Malan, we don't entertain that possibility. Because why? Because why is it that we shouldn't be concerned about that? Says the Gemara, we have a built-in safeguard. The built-in safeguard is the malva. The lender himself would not, malva gufe lo shavak. He won't allow that second document to be used. Sorry, it's not a second document. We don't have a second document. That's the problem. he won't allow the Malva, this first document, to be used and lend money to the Leva for a second loan using this first document. He won't allow that. He won't give him the money for it. Why won't he do that? Because he's worried that if he's going to do that, he's going to end up paying for it, literally. Because why? Because that document is puzzle. And it's interesting that the Rashi that Phil read, that he said Shami Bey Rabbanan, the rabbis, meaning the rabbis of the Bezdin, they're going to find out. What are they going to find out? They're going to find out, says Rashi, that this star has already been used for a first loan, and that this Malva now, he's trying to use this document for a second loan that was made. And who's going to take the loss in that case? The Malva. How so? Because he's going to try to, says Rashi, he's going to, if when the Leva doesn't pay on the second loan, so what's the Malva going to do? He's going to go and knock on the door of the house of the purchaser of the property that the Leva sold to that guy after the loan took place. And the loan is the document is no good. He won't be able to get his money back. So he's going to take the loss, the Malva. Okay. That's the main thing that comes out from Rashi. Rashi has written some more interesting things here also that over here, but that's the main point. That's the main point over here. So in other words, what have we done? We've defended the explanation of Rav Kahana. There is a chiddush in what Rav Kahana is saying. Kamash Malan, that we don't entertain the possibility that maybe the Lov was trying to do that and save the money of the second star, because we don't have to worry about that, because the Malva is not going to go for that anyway. He's not going to go for that. Okay.
Okay. I have to leave now anyway. It's just about time. Take care, Lord.
Okay. All the best, Phil.
Close to the stop. Take care.
I was just going to take a look at what the Rashi says over here in 1 minute. The mifsadei, he's going to cause a loss to himself. The mitraf lekuchos, because he's not going to be able to get the property on lien using that document. Mishum deshtari chov hamukdamin psulin. Rashi's assuming that we're talking about this shtar in this case is a predated document, because Rashi's going with the assumption that the second loan, interestingly enough, is going to be made not on the same day as the first loan. It's going to be made on a subsequent day. So therefore, that makes that shtar not only a shtar. It's got two disqualifications to it, actually. In fact, it's disqualified because kfar nimchol shibudo, and also it has a second invalidation, that is now a predated document, because he's using a document that says Rosh Chodesh Iyar for a loan that took place on let's say the 3rd of the month or the 15th of the month, and that's a predated document. It's puzzle. You can't use it. So therefore, Rashi says, "Dekaven dahai de ukma hachi leisle edov b'chasimov b'chasumov." Zachenlo afzeh min hamukdamin. Those are the words that I'm not sure exactly what Rashi is saying over here. Rashi's saying some important words. Let's try to, but we don't have time for that. Okay, let's say there. So we'll sign off for now.
Thank you, Rabbi.
As Hashem will, if I find out what those words mean, I'll let you know. Okay.
Have a great day.
All the best.